This is the Desert Shaman, Roger Thunder. Thought I would talk today about ritual. Life is a ritual. Everything you do in life is a ritual. Choose wisely which ritual you wish to observe or practice and the meaning it has for you. When you get up in the morning, isn't that ritual? You go through certain little motions every day, certain little rituals. You get up, jump in the shower maybe, or maybe you don't jump in the shower. Maybe you use a different method of cleaning in the morning, like washcloth or whatever. Then maybe you brush your teeth, and then maybe you have a cup of coffee, and then maybe you do this, or maybe you do that. This is all ritual. And it goes on throughout the day. You jump in your car, you do the same thing every day. You do ritualistic motions. Then there's the other kind of ritual where you're mindful. Okay, these rituals that you go through that I just mentioned basically are mindless. I mean, you're like a robot. You get up, you don't even think about it. You do the same thing. You wash the same cup. You make the coffee. You just do this stuff without even thinking about it. But it is ritual because it's a set of movements or practices. But it's unconscious. What if you were to be conscious of that? What if you were to be conscious of everything as a ritual? We'll get to that in a minute, but ritual on a spiritual level has meaning. Okay, if you do ritual, let's say in the morning, my typical morning is one of meditation, chanting, doing yoga, doing little Tai Chi, well, more than a little lately. A little Tai Chi, a little yoga, maybe I'll practice some hard moves with Kung Fu Sansu or whatever. But all of this for me is to get up, to connect with spirit, okay, and to be directed by spirit, being mindful of the ritual that I'm doing, or I may even relinquish everything to spirit to have me perform in a way that is appropriate for whatever practice that I am or ritual that I am observing at that moment. But I'm mindful of it, and I actually when I think about it, it's like you bring certain things on, or you take certain things on, or you communicate with certain spirits, or you communicate with whoever while you're doing the ritual. Okay, whatever your belief system is, whatever your ritual is. But ritual should be something that is a plus, okay, something that is a benefit, something that is enhancing your life, something that is moving you forward on the spiritual path, moving you forward on the red road, moving you forward through ritual, through whatever you do. And how much meaning do you give to the ritual? How observant, how let's say sacred are you, in a sense? I mean, things like that is what you should be looking at. Okay. Now, once you get involved in ritual for spiritual purposes, meditation, and all the form, Tantra, anything, whatever ritual is there to raise your consciousness or raise the kundalini energy or connect with the god, goddess, the Shiva, Shakti, whatever. These things, again, you're very mindful of and you know what you're doing. And you actually relinquish yourself to be directed. And you will be directed in everything that you do. Now, having said that, let's get back to the mindless ritual that we go through every day. Well, there's a term mindfulness, okay? There's a term mindfulness, and that term simply means being mindful of everything that you're doing and not going through just a ritualistic motion that has no meaning. Being mindful has meaning, and you can give everything meaning just like you do in your spiritual practices. In fact, life can become a spiritual ritual. Life can become a spiritual ritual. Everything has meaning. Everything, you can give meaning to anything that you want, okay? If you have a glass of water, do you look at that glass of water as like, mini wachoni? Water is life. Water is healing. Or you just slam the water down, gulp it down, not even think about it. Or do you meditate on it? Do you look at the water? You realize that most of your body is comprised of water. Water is life. And you can even send love to water and change the molecular structure of it for healing purposes. Whatever healing you need or want can be in that water. It can be in a cup of coffee. It could be in anything. I mean, what meaning do you give the ritual that you're going through every day? When you get into the shower and do you look at the shower head with the water gushing out and say something like, I love you, water, healing water. Love me, healing water. Connecting with the water, connecting with the fluid of the universe, of the natural fluids of the universe, the natural flow of chemicals and nutrients and chi. And do you use everything that you do as something to empower you and something to heal you and something to maybe even protect you? These are things that you have the opportunity to do. And let's say that you're performing a ritual a certain way. Let's say that you get up in the morning and you do the same things in consecutive order. Change up the order. Do a change up on it. Get out of ruts, okay? Get out of mindless ruts that you might be in. Pull yourself out of it. And that means changing things up a little. And, when you get up, you might, your first thing might be to, I got to get in the shower and clean up the, wake up and clean up and do all that stuff. I got to do that first. Well, do you really? Maybe you should just go over and have a cup of coffee first and think about it or reflect on what you want to do next. Make mindful decisions. Don't be driven by patterns, okay? Don't be driven by patterns. And so when we get into that area, when we start doing change up, our patterns of thinking changes. We change one pattern and another pattern might change, and then another pattern and another pattern. It's best to go off in different directions at different times because it keeps you fresh, keeps you on your toes and fresh, and also it's like you're improvising with life. You're improvising with life, It's an improvisation on a theme. Now, the more you do that, the more fluid you get. See, when you do yoga, you have thoughts come to you. When you're being flexible in yoga, when you're stretching and feeling all the different energies and communing with the goddess energy, maybe, or when you're doing Tai Chi and you're going with the flow and you're feeling that energy, or when you're doing a harder thing, you're feeling that energy. Make every bit of this fun, okay, and be flexible. And see, the flexibility is what's happening here. It's the flexibility, okay, to move in certain ways, to move in more, I guess the word flexible would be the best. I think of snake-like motions. I think of flexibility. Matter of fact, the Tai Chi that I developed off of Chen Man Ching's Yang style Tai Chi, I actually add spice and flavor to it, okay? And I move in a more snake-like fashion. So I kind of designated my Tai Chi as kind of a snake Tai Chi, moving in lithesome snake ways, coiling back and striking, having pictures in my mind, okay, having feelings in my body. So, and another thing is, Tai Chi and yoga and all of that stuff, when you completely let go, can be a dance. It can be a movement. It can be a dance. It can be a warrior dance, or it can be an erotic dance, or it can be any kind of dance you want it to be. It can take on a harder warrior form and a softer goddess form, or whatever. You experience different feelings, and you allow different feelings to flow through you, and that way you don't become stagnant. You become more balanced. You have the hard and the soft. You have the Shiva and the Shakti. Once you realize that Shiva and Shakti are copulating, and it is the copulation of the universe, okay, and all that is primal energy, okay, and it's the yin and the yang, the Shiva and the Shakti, then you realize that, then you come to a realization that that's what you are. That's what you are. You're part of a continual erotic display on a universal level is basically what's happening. So when you tune into those kind of good feelings, then all kinds of guilt and fear and anything like that disappears, because that is the primal energy. That is the directing energy. That is the fun energy. Let's put it that way. So when the same thing is like, let's say you have a meal, right? And you sit down for a meal, or you have a sweet roll and a cup of coffee or a glass of orange juice or whatever. Again, are you mindful? Do you feel this sensuous pleasure? You can have the same sensuous pleasure with drinking orange juice, or eating, or anything. Everything that you do can be kind of that primal, sensuous feeling of like enjoyment and titillation, or whatever you want to call it. You can make life that way. Life is a ritual, so you need to start transforming your way of thinking, your ruts. My dad once said, he wasn't totally stupid. Hi, Dad. Love you, man. He's in other realms now, but he used to say, A rut is nothing more than a grave with both ends knocked out. Pretty profound actually. And that's what a rut is. That's what a rituals can become ruts. Both have the R word there. Rituals can become ruts. Okay. Ruts can become rituals. Okay. It works both ways. And when I say rituals, I'm talking about ritualistic, going through the motions. Now, I notice this even, in some, let's say, indigenous practices, or people that may be into indigenous practices, or maybe even New Age practices. They go through the ritual, but the ritual doesn't have the meaning that it should. They're not being mindful. They're just going through ritual. They're not connecting with spirit, okay? And it's so important to do that. It's so important to connect with the guiding light, the guiding spirit, the guiding energy, the force, the supreme consciousness that knows everything in this universe. There isn't any kind of lesson that you need to take from anybody or any kind of instruction other than going to the complete Akashic records where there is no end and there is no beginning. It's just information that has been there and will always be there. You can actually, if you want to learn Tai Chi, you should learn a few moves and then open up to being directed by that energy or that personal master or that personal guru or that personal yogini. Personally, I like to have yogini instruction. Feels kind of good hooking up with that goddess energy and being in part, having knowledge and instruction and movement and spontaneous movement, see? So you can get into a ritual and rather than having it be a certain way every time, you can allow it. This is really important, to be completely spontaneous. It's like this has happened to people when they are, this is sometimes happens to people. It has been known to happen to people. There are instances of this happening to people where they go into kind of a spontaneous. They may be doing meditation or they may be doing their hatha yoga, but all of a sudden something will just happen and they'll start going into spontaneous asanas, positions in their yoga, or they may be doing Tai Chi and all of a sudden they'll go into a spontaneous thing where it strikes like a bolt of lightning and just moves you certain ways, moves you, allows you to be moved, or you allow yourself to be moved. You give it up, basically. You just say, I give it up. Yeah, you teach me, you tell me, you show me. Let me get out of my own way here. Let me get out of my own way and just go with the movement of the universe. And there was a great sensei, Vernon Kitabu Turner, black man, who I had the great privilege of talking to, who says the same thing. He learned the martial arts spontaneously. He has a wonderful book out called Soul Sword. He learned the martial arts spontaneously, and he was expert at it. It just came to him because of a need, okay, and a connection that he had to have. So he got to the point where he could go in a dojo and take 10 guys on and the highest belts there were, and they couldn't even touch him. He moved in such a fluid manner. He allowed himself to be moved. He allowed the energy to flow through him. So this is very healing stuff. You can have a ritual be very healing for you and be very beneficial. You have to drop your fear, in a sense. You have to drop all fear, okay? Because people get all kinds of weird ideas when they allow themselves to be moved by the Spirit. They fear a loss of control, or they fear a loss of, they feel like something might hurt them. Let me tell you, if your higher consciousness is in the right place, nothing's going to hurt you. You're going to attract beneficial instruction and beneficial energy to you. And you always, always, from a higher level, even though you let go, you're totally aware of what's going on. It's not like you're a captive or something. So ritual is very important. Look at the ritual that you do every day. Change it up a bit. Change it up. Be a rebel. Go, fuck that. I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to do it, or I'm not going to do that at a particular time during the day. I might change it up and do it in the evening. I might do some meditation in the evening. I might do some whatever I want to do in the evening, as opposed to, or late at night, or in the middle of the night, or the more that the universe sees you moving in a certain direction, and this is always for improvement. It's always for improvement. It isn't for, What I'm saying is that, all you need to do is loosen up, relax, and let energy come to you and direct you in your meditations, in your consciousness raising, in your Tai Chi, in your yoga, whatever martial art you do, whatever sport you do, swimming. Be aware that it's really not you, it's the universal energy that's moving you around, see. If you close your eyes and you're standing in awareness, I've talked about standing in awareness so much that it should be, it should be getting into your consciousness by now. But when you stand in awareness, when you become the witness, then you realize that everything that you're doing, all the movements that you're doing, everything that you're feeling and doing, and all your senses and everything is it's almost like it's kind of hard to explain this, but let's say you close your eyes, okay? Take a deep breath and you put your hand on your knee. What do you feel? Is your knee touching your hand, or is your hand touching your knee? Is the feeling coming from your knee, or is it coming from your hand? Is the tactile sensations that you're feeling, where is that coming from? Can you define it? Because if you close your eyes, it can be coming from anywhere. The knee doesn't, if it's the right knee, there is no direction when you close your eyes. There's only what you perceive as direction. There's only what you perceive as physicality. There's only what you perceive as body. There's only what you perceive as surroundings. It's a good exercise. Put your hand out and lay it on a desk. And what kind of feeling do you get there when your eyes are closed and you're just feeling? Does that feel hard? And what is hard? Does it feel cool? Is the desk feeling you, or are you feeling the desk? I mean, see, this is the kind of when you get into this kind of thought, that's when you're open to direction and open to new ideas, and realizing that when your eyes are closed, whatever you're feeling, whether you're Darth Vader or whether you're whatever you're imagining and whatever you're feeling and whatever your tactical tactile sensations are, or the feelings on your body, the energy, the little wisps of wind, anything that's going on around you. When your eyes are closed, it's just a myriad of puzzles and beautiful patterns and images. Okay, images could come to you. The gypsy goddess dancing with her incense and her anklets, ankle bracelets and bells and whatever could be standing right before you, or you could become a warrior, or there's just so many things that are possible. When you release the thought that that's not possible, I can't be doing that, then that's when it is possible for you to experience and do and have fun. So remember, I started off this video talking about ritual, and that's what it is. Life is ritual. I hope you get something out of this. It comes from an enlightened viewpoint that words are but crumbs from the feast of the mind, basically. I could sit here all day and try to explain, but maybe you'll feel some of the energy that I'm talking about here. Maybe you'll feel it's about feeling rather than knowing. Okay, knowing is more about knowledge and intellect, but there's another kind of knowing too. There's a knowing that comes from feeling. Okay, there's a knowing that comes from feeling. And that knowing is the real knowing, because you're feeling it. It's not a conception, it's not a intellectual knowledge, it's a feeling. It's a feeling of the senses. It's like coming to your senses, okay? Coming to all your senses and realizing what they're doing and what they convey to you, or what they don't convey to you. And there's so much beyond the 6 senses. Or is it 5 senses? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, okay. How about 6? About 6 or 7. So anyway, things to think about. Again, I'm just talking right off the top of my crown chakra here. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just talking, and there it is. Take it for what it's worth. Until next time, I'm out of here.